So let me bring you back to something you mentioned about self-sabotage. What's that?
As basic as you know.
Just getting in your own way. And on the flip side is getting out of your own way.
So doing things to scupper yourself.
Yeah.
Or thinking. If self-sabotage, because people might get mixed up between, they're out drinking and taking drugs and eating bad food, they might think of that as self-sabotaging, but when we're talking about it, we kind of mean how you speak to yourself, how you talk to yourself, and you go, oh, well, I'm no good at that, and no, I couldn't do that, and no, that's not for me, and I'm unlovable, or it's your thoughts more than your actions, because that's where it starts,
And I think for me, it's been through self-awareness, and I would definitely, me personally, I would relate self-sabotage to, am I really achieving my full potential here? You know, I'm all about, obviously, the balance in terms of rest and, you know, and action for sure. But I find there's certain habits and certain things that I've just are so ingrained into me that are not benefiting me anymore. And I do want to have that self-ownership. And to have that self-ownership and to evolve and to grow, I need to look at the habits that stop me, you know, whether it is faffing around, definitely procrastination, you know, saying I'm going to do it tomorrow instead of just doing it now, you know. All of that's my personal things. So that's how, and that's the key to overcoming that, is the self-awareness and recognizing, having a look at what I'm saying and having a look at what I'm thinking and how I'm speaking to myself as well. Why am I afraid to do that? Now, I don't know if I'm going to get it right, but Marianne Williamson, she was saying something along the lines, and I've got it in my head before, but I'm probably not going to get it right, but it's self-sabotage, procrastination, it all falls back to fear, okay?
Everything.
It all falls back to fear, okay? Marianne Williamson says something along the lines of, it's not that we fear to be, you know, it's not that we fear to fail, it's that we fear to be so monumentally amazing that we don't allow ourselves to be that. It's almost like we know that what we're capable of, but we're actually afraid of achieving our full potential because we limit ourselves. And I believe that we limit ourselves because of unconscious trauma habits and trauma coping mechanisms that we've developed along the way, that we think, but we're going to fail, you know, especially in our community. Oh, but sure, that might happen, you know, there'll be fears that are ingrained into us.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what we touched on earlier on about our communities or our peers, you know, oh my God, she's wired up, or she's this or she's that. So it's the fear of not being accepted by your peers or your community. It goes back to the fear of rejection. And that's ingrained into us as human beings. We don't want to be rejected. That's humans, one of our biggest fears. What if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? What if they think that I'm talking shite?
Yeah. Who does she think she is?
Who does she think she is? Yeah.
It all starts up here, do you know, that way? And there is Don Miguel's book, The Four Agreements. I think the second one is don't allow another person's view on you to affect you, because that is a deflection of them. So if they don't like you, they're seeing something in you that they maybe don't like about themselves, which is so true. It goes back to everyone's a mirror, or something someone else is doing that you're like, I need to step that up. You know, I see myself getting a bit like, you know, I just hate it when I see people so savvy with technology. I'm like, I want to do that. You know, I don't know how to do all this savvy stuff, but that's not that person's fault. That's my responsibility, and that's something I need to upgrade my knowledge on in order for me to be, you know. So super interesting.
Yes, so talking about that, there was a book I read a long time ago called The Dark Side of the Light Chaser.
Okay.
And it touches on that. It touches on if there's something you don't like about somebody else, then it's because it's something that you're uncomfortable with in your subconscious with yourself. Yes.
And it's that if you're going to go down the spiritual side, it's going to be your shadow side.
Yes.
You know, that's the shadow, the parts of yourself that you've suppressed, the parts of yourself that you want to shine that light on, but we have to. This is what I think everyone's going through right now, and what you'll be doing in a couple of weeks as well. It's it's acknowledging both of that, the polarity of them both. Like, we've all got toxic traits, we've all got self-sabotaging traits, and it's recognizing that we need to make them conscious because they're unconscious. So because we've suppressed them so much.
I tell you what I've learned in the past couple of years, like at the start of my self-awareness journey, if you want to call it that, many years ago, I was like, first of all, you become aware of self and you're like, oh my God, this is what I'm like. But in the start of that journey, it actually made me, what's the word I'm looking for, estranged from myself, because I was going,
Estranged from yourself?
do you know the estranged, like,
Did you even know yourself?
like when I first started to go, oh my God, I do that, and I do, there was parts of myself that I then become aware of that I didn't like, right? So then I was up against, God, I really don't like that about myself. You know, when loved ones go to me, oh, Kerri, you said this and it made me feel like this, and you can come across very harsh, or you're very cheeky, or, you know, abrupt, or all the, and I was like, so actually becoming aware, first of all, was really tough. But then when I say, you know, it's the depression, I nearly started to say to myself, you're not a nice person. You're not making people feel good. So then I started to not be nice to myself. And then that caused, I think that kind of caused the depression, and trying to work out that.
And you probably got caught in that loop. You
Yes,
probably got caught in that frame of mind of going over
But
and
now,
over.
all these years later, I'm now coming back to realizing that everybody has the shadow. Everybody, we're all just human, and it's about accepting the negatives as well as the positives. You know, and I was trying to be a better person, doing all this self-help stuff, courses, reading books, going to Al-Anon, going to therapy, doing CBT, exercising, yoga, Bikram yoga.
Do you think you were running away though as well?
I was trying to become this better person, and I could never be the perfect person, so my expectations were unrealistic. So then I was looking back on myself, so I was never reaching the perfect person, so to speak.
But you thought the perfect
yes,
person.
in your
so much
head.
pressure to put
so
on
much
yourself
pressure.
as
I was
well. That's
beating
so
the
right.
shit out of myself.
That was self-made stress that you created to be the perfect person, but it's why. And I read this yesterday, it's almost like you don't want to, you wanted that validation. It's not so much that you wanted the feeling, you just wanted that validation. It's the sensation that you wanted to finally feel validated after all of those years from running yourself down.
But thankfully, you know, because your journey's like this, you'll discover something else. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know that about myself, or I didn't know that about life, or acceptance. It's about acceptance. And the thing that Mags has taught me is we are human beings. We are two sides of the coins. It's not right, it's not wrong. And accepting your faults, for want of a better word, to put it in simple terms, and to go, well, yeah, I'm human, and to accept it instead of giving myself such a hard time. I'm trying my best to become better. I try to set my goals. I try to do this. I try to do that. But just accepting yourself as a human being, and that every single person in this world has faults as well. Even the most beautiful, amazing people, they still have faults. Does that make sense?
And it's your perspective as well on that. That's most definitely something that I've gathered from what you said. It was your perspective on how you've seen a successful person to be validated, had to have all of these things and had to keep on. And that's it, you know. But see, sometimes when you actually step back and you shift that and you be like, okay, what's actually important here? And you know, I'm a good person, and maybe I was being honest, but sometimes being blunt is what somebody needs as well. And it's, you know,
Exactly.
Exactly.
because I know I need it. You know, take your own advice.
Like in the last session, we started off by saying, well, Kerri gave me some great advice and told me to get my head out of my hole. And I was like, well, that's going to sound awful.
That's exactly what I did. And I know you thought it sounded awful, but I know you had come from a place of love when you said it. But basically, I was in a situation where I was trying to make a decision, and I was my ego was taking over and saying, you can't do that because of this. And Kerri looked at it very simply and says, get your head out of your hole.
Exactly.
And I was like, And it just explained it to me perfectly, and I thought, well, that's what
Get
I'm doing.
over
So
yourself.
self-sabotaging because my head was in my hole.
Just get over yourself.
Get
And it
over
was my
yourself.
younger
So
sister
caught up
said
in
that
our
to me.
analytical mind too much, that way. And like I was saying, we have got 3 brains. We've got our intuition and our gut. That's why gut health is so healthy. Our heart is the strongest. That's what I was saying about the manifesting, the love, emitting that frequency, that love that we have. But then our mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy. Do you know what I mean? So it's recognizing that.
It's the best and the worst at the same time, because I'm such an overthinker.
But that's it. You're obviously trying to stay one step ahead because you're trying to be proactive with your job. What am I going to say? You want it to come across right. But sometimes just trusting your intuition and allowing yourself to be guided is what we, it's that's where it's at realistically.
But I think sometimes your greatest strength is also your biggest fault. It's whatever. So for me, overthinking is good because I, have a lot of different jobs, and one of them is running events. So if I overthink things, it means I have no surprises on the day. I've thought through every scenario and I have.
So
every
that's
state,
when you're
every
not
person,
a fault,
every-
But that's when you're in work mode. So it's being able to have that ability to regulate yourself, take yourself out of work mode, because that means you're going to be constantly in your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, producing chemicals you do not need. So you have to try and get this, you're dysregulated, you're caught up, like I was saying, you're caught up in the future. You're not conscious.
Worrying about
so you're in the future, you're not conscious.
fear.
So it's been able to be like, okay, I'm going to
Elements.
plan this. I'm going to take 2 hours to do my planning for the future, because that is a form of manifesting. You're seeing how everything's going to go and hopefully seeing that it's all running smoothly. So when you're able to do that, that is a form of manifesting. In a way, you're manifesting a smooth, successful, fun event. But you're like, okay, boom, I'm going to do some breathing now and take it back in and be able to bring myself down. And that's the resilience that you build as well. That's what you've been doing in your cold water therapy. So you're bringing yourself up to your fight or flight. You're getting yourself, and I like to say it like it's almost like you're putting the accelerator on. Like I was saying the other day, put the accelerator on to get yourself going. Then you get in there to the water, and then you can regulate yourself, because we all have this window of resilience. So you were able to self-soothe, self-regulate, then you bring yourself down. But the only time that you know that is when you be more self-aware of where your mind's going. And just think about it easy. Where am I time traveling to? Just keep on asking yourself
the
that.
time travel has been awful, especially in lockdown, because whenever everybody was locked in their houses, and I'm not alone in this, I couldn't really further my career. I couldn't run the events. I couldn't, and I felt
The what ifs.
And for a while it was fine. It was great. I'm like, so I don't have to go anywhere. This is good. And I was just walking a dog and, enjoying myself. And then it started to feel like
On the wine every night.
gin o'clock. Could have been any time of day. And just the thought then that I was in the middle of the ocean. I just had this feeling in the middle of the ocean. I can't see the shore. Because
the uncertainty.
Yeah. And so at the time I had a counsellor sort of on a weekly basis, and she said to me, bring it into this week. So I'm thinking, she says, if you think of something that's sort of beyond 7 days, bring yourself back to today. And she's like,
And even if you can't think for 7 days, you bring it back to today. Right now.
Right now. Am I going to get kicked out of my house right now? No. Have you got something to eat? Yes, there's a sausage roll in the fridge. And so it's just, bring it into now.
It's a sausage roll.
Being
fine. Sausage roll.
Because you'll find though, because the thing is, obviously if we're talking we were talking about feelings, that we're basically magnets, realistically. So if you were falling into fear in that moment in the future, then you're just going to attract more scenarios and more cases, rather than you just bringing it back into right now. This is my freedom. I'm present. I've got a sausage roll. I'm going to kick back. I'm going to allow myself. I'm just going to not time travel for right now, because it's not benefiting me. I don't have nothing to plan. You don't have to go reflect back into the past if it's not going to bring you any happiness. And if you're completely attached to the past, it's stealing your power as well,
The power of now.
Yeah,
we are.
You're not Marty McFly. Stay. But it's been so helpful.
There's no DeLorean.
there is no
Stay
glory
here.
in much as you want one, but just the thought, and that has really helped me just all the time, just to kind of go.
Yeah.
It's an invitation and it's a practice. It's not easy. It's something that it's like going to the gym. It's a workout. It's literally, I like to think as mindfulness is a workout for your mind. I like to think as the cold water therapy is a workout for your central nervous system. You know, there's so much, we're so integral, there's so much going on. And it's, you know, bringing that awareness into where am I at? Because some people are going to be caught in the past, you know, going over things, I should have done things differently, feeling guilty. Someone else is going to be constantly in the future. I'd say you would be like that. Would you be more in the past?
I used to be, yes. very
That's what
much
they
so.
say, like depression for the past, anxiety for the future. But that's usually a combination of both.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in the future a lot because I had a plan and I knew where I was going and I knew what I was doing, and then
The rug.
and then the rug was pulled out from under me in a number repeatedly in the last year.
You were on the
Which will be
magic
the most
market.
transformative year, trust me. I know it not make sense now, but see, like in 2-3 years, you'll be like, I'm so happy that happened. I understand this all now. It'll all make sense. Just trust and faith are your superpowers.
Well, I feel like, yes, definitely, because I had a big incident 4 years ago where I got divorced, and then I'm like, okay, I can see now. I can see, you know, it was like a game of chess, and almost everything had to be burned to the ground before it was rebuilt. And then I'm like, hang on, it's just rebuilt. What? Where are we getting burnt down again? But now I'm at peace with that, and I'm happy enough to kind of go, okay, right, show me what's next, and just trust that.
the process.
But because I had the trauma of the things that happened, I haven't been able to get to that point. But tell us now then, give us some steps that you know that we can do, that I can do, that you know other people can do
In terms of healing,
in terms of
But
practices.
let's bring it back, like what I was saying, okay? Because people seem to think, oh, healer, yes, I do Reiki, yes, I'm spiritual, but I also love science. And it's not, healing isn't like, I'm going to fix you. It's not like that.
I sorry for interrupting you, but I think that if you go on to Kerri's page, her title just said Finding Balance with Kerri. It's not here's the balance, it's finding it, it's the constant
balance. I'm still trying to find it. Like, I'm not sitting here, I'm fully healed. No way, nowhere near it. I still self-sabotage, I still procrastinate, I still don't manifest as big as what I know I can, but I'm finally trying to be like, right, I know this is coming, I feel it, but it still doesn't mean to say I'm there yet.
But what are some of the things that you've sort of some of the actions from your journey that you would, because there's been a lot, and I want to get on to the past life shortly, but tell us like sort of some of the, you know, so for you was you did yoga, then you learned how to share that with people.
Yeah, but yoga, when I was doing my yoga teacher training, I was just getting out of a toxic relationship like for 4 years. It was horrendous. I was like half the size I was literally, I felt suicidal weeks before going to do my yoga teacher training. I've had imposter syndrome. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I can't do a handstand. All of this shit was coming. And it does, like, you know, these narratives just bounce up and tell you you're not capable, but it's like, they're just you know, assumptions. They're not facts. Yeah, the monkey mind. You know, like that we saying, just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. And I had to keep on just trying to recondition and say, well, I'm here. I'm teaching from the heart. I'm here.
So it's about challenging your thoughts.
But that's what it is. But we can't do that through self-awareness, you know, because we'll just let them all be at the back of the head, buzzing. Like there's 10 different tabs open, loads of people talking, and I just was constantly distracting myself by being busy. I was cycling, yoga. Just because you do yoga doesn't mean to say that you could just, it's just another form of distraction, and it was just another coping mechanism. I was training in the gym every day, or I was going out and partying, just not stopping. And when I did, my body, because like I said, your body keeps that's the book, the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score. The body keeps the score, but your body, it's a book, you must read it, it's amazing, but your body is your only home. And realistically, my mind and my body were at war with one another. My mind and my body might have been the relationship that I was trying to escape, basically. And to just think about that toxic relationship and how they're at one another, my body was not a comfortable place for me to be in. I didn't want to be there, you know? And that's how it feels. That's what trauma feels like, and grief. But it's knowing that we can consciously choose to just feel these feelings. And that's what I have to say. It's acknowledging them for sure, writing them down. And the thing is with trauma, it kind of has us trapped back at that time. So we may be thinking that we're here, and, you know, consciously we try, but it's all fragmented. You know, everything is fragmented. So it's the practice to keep on finding safety in the moment. Because our moment is our like Edgar Tolle says, our key to freedom. Freedom from struggling, freedom from pain, these fears, these fantasies that are fearful at times, or, you know, these mind movies that have us trapped. So it's keeping on doing that. So it's been able to regulate the nervous system as well. Because yes, spiritual, but at a scientific point, our vagus nerve is almost, think of it as tired. I like to think of trauma as like, say for example, like a telephone line. Like there's a line in between it, and when trauma happens, it's too fast, too much, too soon, your body is overwhelmed, and the only way it can free itself from this pain and this overwhelm is by tearing it almost. But it means to say that it's fragmented. So like, you know, sometimes you'll feel so over emotional and you can't cope with it, frazzled, or other times you'll feel like you've got everything you wanted, like you've just brought something into your life, and you can't even feel the full pleasure of it because there's still this frazzled kind of wiring. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're not the only one, but you're still very much protecting yourself, and this is the only way that you're going to survive as well. But it's recognizing that, first of all, it's self-awareness. Second of all, it's just knowing that it's a process, and it's the emotions. It's like I said, it's like putting a mosaic back together, putting yourself back together again. And putting yourself back together again in an even more beautiful, messy way, but it's your choice. You're putting yourself back together this time, you know, and it's the way you want it, not the way you think that you should be, or what that person told you should be, or any of that. It's another opportunity for you to really rebuild yourself in the most beautiful way possible, you know. Beautiful, messed up, all of it. It's all still beautiful.
It's definitely a work in progress anyway, but one of the things that I've learned that I'm quite proud of is I don't mind telling people I'm a mess. I don't mind saying to people,
everybody is.
And I'll say to people, so like for example, I had to host an event there in March, and I was absolutely crap on myself about doing it because it was the first sort of time I've had to put myself out in public after, you know, we had lost Stephen to suicide. And I just said it was actually Cate and Ciara. Right. Of all people to have to do an event with immediately was Cate and Ciara, and I was like completely in awe.
So who's Cate and Ciara for people who don't know?
Cate and Ciara is one of the most famous journalists. She's a war correspondent. She's an incredible woman. Absolutely amazing. It was a Women's Day event. Jim and Garrett organised. It was amazing. But I knew that even though I had done a lot of research and I knew what I wanted to ask Cate and Ciara, I was like, I might call her Brenda, or I might, because my brain was just not. And so I just said to her, look, I need you to know this is my mental state at the minute, this is what happened, and if I lose my train of thought, or if I call you the wrong name or something, I'm not, it's not that I've been lazy.
Disrespectful.
I'm
just not feeling great.
She's disconnected right now, so it's hard. And see trauma in itself, she's trying to bring herself back to the present moment. It's hard when you've been through trauma like you've been through so recently. So just be kind to yourself and know that it's all right, and it's just bit by bit, step by step, and just your breathing first and foremost. Exactly. Nice belly breathing, because I think that if you're always in the future and you're always pre-planning and trying to be proactive, which is great because you're manifesting in a way, but belly breathing, the one where you inhale, push your belly out, come up into your side body, up into your heart, and then exhale completely, like all of it out. So that brings you back into your parasympathetic, your rest and digest, which I like to explain as your brake. You know, so, you know, you can't go on a journey without your accelerator and your brake, but some of us are just stuck with the brake on. The brake is stuck and we're just on overdrive, go, because we can't face what's going on. So it's just find that sense of safety once again in the moment, you know, forgiveness, acceptance, and bringing it back to who you are. Your own messed up, wonderful, gorgeous way. You know, we're all whole. You know, we all are. So it's just keep on finding that and just opening your eyes, being grateful of that sausage roll that you've got. soy sausage roll. Yeah, just a little thing.
Beautiful. Sausage roll's your favourite.
That is just a
Lovely
really sausage roll. Sausage.
Yeah.
What is the way they spell it in SADD? No, sausage.
IDD sausage roll. I know, just the simple pleasures. Like.
And that changes the whole, and you know, everyone's talking about gratitude, blah blah blah, but literally changes the chemistry in your brain. It's one of the most strongest emotions in terms of energy and frequency and love. And once again, it's in your heart. It's your strongest brain in a way. I know it sounds mad to say brain, but we've got three. We've got three in terms of your guidance. Trust your gut, your heart, yes, your inner guidance.